It is a beautiful Sunday morning here in East Helena. Today we're going to try to see if we can build an academy. I believe we need to attract 5 high wealth residential buildings. And that's going to be a first step toward unlocking the clean water processing facilities. People are pretty educated. Take a look at the crime map. Okay, so it looks like we have a little bit of crime going on. We just heard a gunshot, so that's probably where we're going to focus our attention for starters, with a new jail cell. Because we're not going to get high wealth residents if we can't deal with crime. There's another parking spot for a few more police cars. And maybe we should build a police station down here in the downtown area as well. Yeah, we're going to put it right there. There you can hear the handcuffs going on. Fire risk is kind of high too, so it's probably something we should deal with. Do we want to go with the large fire station or the small one? Well, I'm going to say the small one because that's the one we can afford. And we're going to put it right there. Well, don't have any more money to spend on stuff. We're running a deficit. I guess I should have paid more attention to my finances. Alright, so I think what we're going to do now is we're going to delete a few of these side streets, and that will make it possible for the density of the area to expand a little bit. There we go. Got another high rise going in here. That'll help us. Guess we're gonna have to increase taxes. A little bit more tax on the industry. That's all right. I do really like the music of this game. But I'm going broke again. I guess we're gonna have to... We'll increase a little bit of the commercial tax rate as well. We could probably eliminate these roads entirely. There we go. That's gonna help us. It's gonna be nice to get rid of that dirty spot on the ground where we're polluting. But right now we can't do anything about it. Maybe we'll delete this abandoned building, demolish that. An enormous abandoned building. Reminds me of some of those big old casino buildings in Las Vegas. They get abandoned and then just stand there for years. Some big high roller would decide they were going to build a casino, and then something would go under, they'd run out of money, or they'd lose interest, and the project would just languish. It's a really kind of a surreal thing to see the contrast between luxury and disarray. When you have a building that you can tell should be really opulent, but then it's actually in a state of abandonment. That's a surreal kind of a look. All right. Well, we got a murderer on the loose. That's not good. We can upgrade our mayor's mansion. I'm on board. Let's do it. Guard post? Yeah, let's do a guard post. And make sure that I don't have any unruly people getting out of control on my property, like all those protesters. That didn't look good. Well, why were they protesting? We have a yellow button for education. What do we got going on? Workers are needed? Okay. High school closed because there were no workers? Well, that's not ideal. Now, did we ever... Yep, we have a regional bus station. We have a train station. So we should have no problem getting people into town. Maybe we'll put a few more bus stops down here. Doesn't look like we have a huge number of them right now. There we go. It's a little bit better. Building is called the Rodentia. We have a lot of cars driving down here to go to the community college. Which I guess is fine. Kind of have no choice but to eliminate some of the redundant side roads, just because I need to increase my building density. I think we'll do the same thing here. It'll give our industry a little more room to grow. Well, jail got filled up. A lot of crime happening. Go ahead and delete this little road because it's not really doing any favors to us. Just taking up building space that buildings could be using. I think fundamentally SimCity 5 has a really uplifting vibe to it. And isn't that at the center of what a city builder should be? A modern urban simulation should be ultimately kind of utopian in its portrayal of what city life is all about. You really should have that sense of people getting up in the morning and going to have their morning cup of coffee and getting a newspaper and saying hello to their neighbors and just all of that happy buzz that would make a city a vibrant, wonderful, positive place to be. And then, of course, there's the dark underbelly of the city, too, which would be characterized by crime and violence and all of those other things, too. But the focus of the game should be ultimately to give you the sense of satisfaction in being able to create something that's really vibrant and positive at the heart of it. And SimCity 5 does a good job of that. Just the look of the buildings, the look of the cars, the lighting effects, the music, it all comes together to create this sense of a really optimistic portrayal of urban life. And I miss that. I miss that in a lot of our modern city builders outside of SimCity 5. I do think that Cities Skylines tries to do that to some degree, but there's something a little bit magical about the SimCity franchise, which I don't think anybody ever fully replicated in the entirety. Like, there's just something about it. And it's because when you have a certain set of content creators who are working to do something and it's their passion project, you can tell. And throughout all the different incarnations of SimCity, there was a certain spiritual undertone that continued to be present in all those games. Even SimCity 5, I would say. Despite all the criticisms, it's still fundamentally SimCity. And it would have been an amazing game if it was released, I would say, a few years later. Because at that time, computing power was not really sufficient to allow for an enormous simulation. Like my thoughts on this would be, why not just have the tiles adjacent to each other? Like, it would be exactly the same game mechanic. It's just the tiles would be immediately adjacent. But then I guess, like if you have a whole bunch of street connections, that would add to the complexity of the simulation. But it really shouldn't, it would just be kind of the same mechanic. It would be cool to see the buildings continuously joined together in the form of an enormous city. It's just that, I think that's what really did it in for me. that sense of not being able to create one big conjoined metropolis was such a disappointment at the time, and I don't think that it was possible to come back from that. Even now, I like this game, but I like it because there's other options on the table. And if there was no other city building game that filled that void of wanting to, of allowing me to create a big sprawling metropolis like Cities Skylines does, I still feel like this would be kind of disappointment, because sure, you can have fun with a playthrough, but you can't really, it's not as infinitely replayable on the small tiles. Now, I'll make a point to say we had a real big explosion here. This factory just plain blew up, and that's actually kind of horrific, really. Ironically, that actually happens sometimes. Happening a lot lately. All the stuff in the news about factories blowing up and people getting stuck in a chocolate factory blew up yesterday or something. I don't know. Kind of wonder if some of these things are sabotage or something. Maybe it just happens sometimes. And one thing is when you have a bad thing happen, then it gets people's attention, and then they pay attention more. So when it happens, when something else happens, they take notice because everyone's looking for it. Alright, so let's build... We can't build the balcony there. We can't build it there. I guess I need to... Do I need to delete this little road so that I can build a balcony? Maybe. Sorry if anybody was planning on driving there. But we gotta build the terrace. We got people protesting on the front lawn, but you know what? I am more worried about my little balcony. Just like the politician that I am. I'm gonna focus on building a new balcony for my mansion while people protest on the grass out front. So let's change this up a little bit. There we go. I think I like that a little bit better. Oh boy. Angle is too sharp. Alright, well how about this then? We'll upgrade these. So the dirt paths are pedestrian pathways, so I guess you know, I was watching the announcement of that new life sim game by Paradox called Life by You. Looks pretty cool, I have to say. Like a new game that's going to be like The Sims, only open world. So here's the thing. I feel like there's city builders, which are all about building this metropolis. And then there's games like The Sims, where you're playing around with the individual life of an individual person or just a small group of people. And what I feel is missing, and it's kind of filled a little bit by games like Colony Builders and Management Sims. Foundation comes to mind. But those games focus on managing commodities like Anno 1800 and others like it. The void I feel we have in the city building genre is something that's kind of smaller scale than a city builder. Maybe kind of, like a map, a square kind of like this one that we're working on, Like, I think that's kind of the idea of what the creators of SimCity 5 had in mind. A small city where you do have things like traffic management and, a broader community. But then you can also get really granular and you can be involved in the individual lives of your people. And you can have a sense of that community simulation. And most city builders wind up being too high level, too big to really give you that sense of a simulated community. You don't really see the personality of the individual Sims at work. The people that live and breathe it. You don't really necessarily know who they are. Like in this game, like we have simulated agents, which is really incredible. But then, do we really know them? Like, we can even see here, we can see where they're going, which is cool. But then there's not really any interface for knowing, for just like adding them to your watch list and being involved in their daily lives. Like, that's where the that's where the shortfall, I guess, is. Either they tried to make a social simulation to a point, but it just isn't quite deep enough to give you that sense of connection to the individual people. So I don't know exactly how that might be done, but if they manage to do something a little bit more like that in Life by You, where you build people's houses and you build their lives, but then you have a little bit more of that city building element mixed in with it too. So it's not just not just people living in one house. Like, you can see multiple people living in different houses and how they interact with each other and things. The Sims 4 does that. But there's loading screens, and it doesn't feel seamless. It feels grindy, and in The Sims 4, like, you wind up just sitting there telling your sim to go to the bathroom again, like, over and over again. I love the traffic effect with those cars. Just going about their day. People hanging out on the street, just having a good time, going about their daily business. So beautiful. I love the colors. Alright. So what are we doing here, though? We got $212,000. We have some abandonment. Building fire caused that building to become abandoned. It's kind of cool how when you demolish a building in SimCity 5, it explodes and you can see the demolition happening, and then it sort of tilts over a little bit while it collapses into itself. It was pretty epic. What is this place? Buani Synthetics. All right. That's a cool building. Nice. All right. Well, I wanted to build the academy. I have 2 high wealth residential buildings. I need 3 more. So what can I do? What can I do to make these guys level up? What's it gonna take? All right, let's study the info layers. Okay, so I think crime is going to continue to be an issue. We have air pollution issues. Is that because we have dirty factories over here, and then the windmills are just kind of blowing it into town? I think the pollution is a detractor, most likely. So we're gonna focus on getting crime under control. That'll help us some, I would imagine. Oh, look at that. I think I need to delete this street so that I can upgrade my police station a little more. Yeah, there we go. We have the money now, so we're gonna just max this out. There we go. Let's get the sign out front. Let people know it's the police station. Don't mess around. Alright, there we go. Yeah, that's a nice little police station. Clinic is full and turning away patients. Well, that's not good. I'll never forget how fun it used to be getting a cup of coffee downtown Seattle and then just going for a walk around the city and listening to the sounds of the city and seeing the street sweepers and the sidewalk cleaners earlier in the morning and the smell of the bagel shops. Just that sense of routine, people going about their lives. It's really, really amazing. Of course, now, living in a smaller town, I still get to see that a little bit. It's just not the same, though. Though what I will say is, living in a small city, I actually can walk my city personally, whereas before, when I lived in a big city, I had to drive everywhere, and I think that's really interesting to think about, because you think that big cities are supposed to be walkable and people kind of could like live in the proximity of the things that they need to access, but that's not usually how it works out, because in a big city, if you want to live downtown, it's out of your price range. You can't just live downtown unless you're making pretty good money. And if you want to buy property, that's going to be probably out of the question too. So the reality is most people in cities, they live around the edges. They live in the suburbs or something, and then you wind up, you can commute for an hour to get to work or something. And it's really hard to have financial independence when you have to sit in traffic for an hour each direction just to get to your job, and you can't choose to have a car-free lifestyle or anything like that. It just doesn't work. So there's definitely something to be said for smaller towns maybe giving more of that sense of kind of community like I was talking about than big cities. Because in a small town, like small city, not saying a small town, but a small city, you can go from one side of town to the other in a very short amount of time. So it's a lot easier to have a sense of connection to the place where you live. We have a power shortage. Buying a lot of power from downtown, but it's still not enough. I guess we're definitely getting more power hungry, aren't we? Well, let's hop over to downtown and take a look at that. We built a second nuclear reactor. I guess we're going to have to build a third one. Now we want to make sure our education level is appropriate. I think we need a regional bus terminal so that our people can travel to university and stuff. And then, in the meanwhile, let's upgrade these streets because we can't build a metropolis with dirt roads, right? I don't think so. Though I will say I do kind of like that dirt road look. This school is full. We need to make sure our people are able to get educated. You know, one of my pet peeves when it comes to education is everyone wants to say, well, just go to college, get yourself a degree, and then you'll be good. And that's not really true. And, as with all things in life, there's a mixture of truth and falsehood in that. And on one hand, it's true that education is valuable. I mean, we can see that all around us in the world. Getting an education, if you want to do something that requires an education, is quintessential to your progress. But you don't need a college degree to be a janitorial staff. And not every single person needs to be working for Google building computers, right? So people should be able to pursue their passion, find things that they enjoy, and then do those things. And sometimes those things will require an education. But if your goal is just to make money, you really don't need it. Because all you really need is a low quality of, a low cost of living. If you have a low cost of living, then you're not going to have any problems making money. Because you can save it. Like, it doesn't matter if you make, if you make $50,000 a year and you could save $30,000 a year and then make good investment choices, you're going to come out a lot better off than somebody who makes $150,000 a year but actually lives beyond their means and has credit cards. And there's a lot of people, they spend their whole life trying to work their way up the career ladder. And their net worth is actually below zero. Even if they're doing things that appear to be successful, they're still worth less than $0 because they're in debt. That's something it took a little while to learn that lesson. There's a difference between trying to look wealthy and actually building wealth. And there's also a distinction between building wealth and getting an education so that you can do something that you're passionate about. And if you truly are passionate about something, then you absolutely should go for it. invest in that. But if you just want to make money, then you should do things that build wealth. And going into debt just so you can say that you've got a college degree is probably not the way to build wealth. It's just the truth. So, well, amazing how many things in life have a duality of truth in them. You know, there's, you know, someone says, well, this is so important. And they're right. It is. It's important. But it's not all important. It's not everything. And that's where people want to, they want to say, okay, here's the good bucket, and then here's the bad bucket, and then which one is it? Is it good or is it bad? Well, no, it's not. It's not all good. It's not all bad either. It's kind of like this game, like SimCity 5. We all said, what a terrible game SimCity 5 is, back when it released, and we saw the small map sizes, and we were frustrated about different things, rightfully. But now the years have passed. There's so many amazing games out there, and this is one of them. You know, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But does it need to be? No, not really. It really doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect to be a lot of fun, amazing game. And it's, you know, I think it's crazy. You know, it took me 10 years of SimCity 5 before I actually sat down and said, you know what, I'm going to just truly enjoy this game for what it has to offer, without being distracted with judgment and frustration and all that. So we have one healthcare facility here. I think we need more. Do I want to build a honest-to-goodness hospital? I think so. Speaking of honest-to-goodness hospitals, I have 2 Point Hospital. That's another game I'm going to definitely be giving some time to. Got all the DLCs and everything, and it's another cool, feel-good kind of a game. It's just, you know, it's a cozy game, fun game. But we're going to give that a try as well. Might actually play that some today, too. But we're approaching the hour mark, 50 minutes in this video, so probably wrap it up here soon. Okay, we got our $122,000, so we can build that hospital now. So where's it gonna go? Yeah, right there. That's a good place for it. Right on the hilltop, looking out over the ocean. I know it's a little bit of an overkill, but we'll need it eventually. Looks like the nuclear power plant is now operating at unsafe levels of education, so what can we do about that? Seems like we have a reasonable amount of educational services here in town. We'll build another school here. A public library. Yeah, they need to focus on hiring skilled labor instead of just anybody who walks in there at the power plant. A little bit concerning. Hopefully we don't have any accidents. Then we have this end of downtown, which is just all abandoned and burned down. I guess everyone just comes down and sets fire to whatever's there. Not a good part of town right now, but that's okay. Eventually it'll get there. I like how the power plant looks. Looks super cool. We have a lot of people commuting into town here. Because they're going over to the adjacent city to work. That's good.
Tewa.
I think we'll build I was gonna say, yeah, we'll build a university down here. hopefully we can increase our education level sufficiently before the power plant melts down. We will see. We're starting to have a little bit of a Main Street appearing here. I like it. Look, we got a new business coming in on the south end of town. Well, I guess that's where we're going to leave it as we finish off an hour of SimCity 5. We've made some decent progress on our downtown area and on East Helena. Still did not get our academy yet, but that's all right. Maybe next time. And there you have it. Thank you for watching.